Good. Welcome everybody into the Optimizing the Immune System with OneQi. I'm here with my esteemed colleagues from OneQi. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, then you have an opportunity to put in some questions or comments in there. We try our best to answer these as we go live with this, but we may have to come back to you afterwards, and there'll be some space and time at the end of this session as well to have a look at things and report back to you. Otherwise, we'll come back to you at a later time. But before we go into the Qigong practice, I would just like to give you a little bit of background on how and why we have come together to share this and talk briefly about the immune system so that we have a framework as well. And then hand it over to John, Clara, and Alessandro, and then back to myself for some Qigong practice. Firstly, I'd just like to say that this is a very special evening, a very special talk for us, because usually Qigong teachers, like it is for many other systems and organizations, tend to stay in their own camp and not share as a collective for the wider benefit. If they do come together, then that can often involve conflict rather than collaboration, and a lot of the benefits are missed. So this is a very special occasion for different Qigong teachers from different systems to come together for a collaboration. The reason I mention that is because we're working with a very complex system tonight. It's the immune system, which over billions of years has found a way to form a synergistic relationship with other systems to preserve life, our life. And so if we can learn from the immune system in terms of relationships with other people, find ways to work together for the good of others rather than create unnecessary tension, unnecessary harm. And that means we can work together towards our health rather than against it. And this is really important. So we can find balance and longevity, because that's what the nervous system, that's what the immune system is trying to do for us. And we know that when the immune system is at war against itself, just like people, it always leads to disaster. And we're trying to avoid that. We're very much a reflection of our immune system, is the way that I look at it. Or you could say that our immune system reflects how we are behaving as human beings. Not always, but enough of the time it does reflect that. And in OneQi, the OneQi Hub is a collection of UK teachers. And we openly discuss and share methods, techniques, and skills of Qigong that we know best help support our systems and help support a healthy mind, healthy body, healthy immune system, and healthy energy flow. And so there's a mutual benefit there as well. Each of us has decades of Qigong experiencing coming from different systems, but with one common goal, which is tonight we're going to share the best things that we know to support that healthy immune system, which is, by the way, fundamental to our health and our vitality and our general well-being. One of the keys to our success in OneQi is that we have found ways to support each other, not by trying to be right, but by this mutual sharing. And that's what we're looking to do in terms of our immune system, is to support it, not try and control it, and certainly not weaken it. And that's what we're going to talk more into as we go along, I'm sure, is how not to weaken the immune system, how to support the immune system for overall health. But it is, I think, useful to have some basic understanding of the immune system if we're going to all invest time in supporting it. Most people I talk to don't really know how the immune system works. I didn't know how the immune system worked before I really looked into it. I took it for granted, as a lot of people do, as we do for a lot of our health. But it's not until we have ill health or dis-ease that suddenly we wake up and we go, oh my goodness, why are things not working for us? And it's not surprising we don't know how the immune system works, because it's an immensely complex system. And nobody knows all of its secrets yet. We're still discovering stuff all the time. But I think you should also know that all of us here as Qigong teachers are not immunologists. We're not scientists. We've just all got a keen interest in terms of how the immune system works and how we can use our Qigong practice to support that as well. And there's been a lot of information about the immune system in terms of how you can boost your immune system. And I look at that in terms of misinformation, really, this idea around boosting your immune system. Mostly it's come from a multi-billion pound industry, makes a lot of money off this kind of stuff. And so there's this idea if you boost your immune system through various ways, it's going to really help you. But what we're going to share with you as well is that boosting your immune system is not a good idea. If we understand that the immune system is not a thing inside you, but the immune system is actually an expression of your biology, protecting itself and making life possible, keeping things in balance and order with a variety of complex systems and control centers. When we understand it like that, then we can appreciate that one of the best things that you can do to support your immune system is not weaken it or really interfere with it. The immune system's evolved over billions of years from a single cell, and it's much smarter than we are. So for instance, your innate and adaptive immune system can produce immune cells against every single known and unknown bacterium and virus in history, from past to now to future, which I think is absolutely incredible, that already within our biochemistry, within the cells, is enough information to deal with any disease, any illness. That's amazing, isn't it? But the thing is, we also know that the body doesn't often work in that way, that for various reasons it ends up failing us, or it gets depleted and it's not working in the way that we really want it to do. The good thing about Qigong, and all of us here have experienced this, is that the Qigong brings about an increased level of vitality, an increased level of health. And it does help us deal with a lot of system problems a lot easier as well. We're not going to be going into the depths of the science of the immune system with you in this tonight. We're just going to share some information, how you can use it for the beginning of the day, Qigong for the middle of the day, Qigong for the end of the day. John's going to talk a lot more about this for you as well. And so when we do our other course in February, we will unpack the stuff that we're going through today a lot more for you. But this gives you a little taster, a little flavor of the things that we're doing. But let's come back to the immune system a second in terms of what is it? Well, mainly the immune system is a tool. It's a tool to distinguish self from other. And when it finds something that is not self, it destroys it. And part of the system of the immune system is it has this inflammatory process. And you could say like these assassins or killer cells that go out and kill everything that shouldn't really be there. And so if we were going to think about boosting the immune system, what are you going to do? Are you going to make more killer cells, or are you going to make more inflammation? None of those are a good idea, because we want to have that equilibrium within the immune system. That's what the immune system is really trying to do. It's trying to find this homeostasis in your body, this equilibrium. And so that equilibrium is for all the cells and elements of your body. We know that when the immune system is depleted and unable to function well, we become ill. If the immune system is out of tune, it will start to attack itself. And when I talk about itself, I mean you, me, everybody. Our immune system is us, not a thing. So think about the immune system in terms of having these areas in the body with complex training academies. And we're going to come back to it later about the thymus as well, the gland located behind the breastbone, between the lungs, that's responsible for producing your T cells. Just to give you an idea of the complexity of what we're not going to go into, but how we can help ourselves here today, is that 98% of those cells that go through the thymus are actually killed. Only 2% of the cells make it through as your immune cells. This is how finely tuned our immune system is. Because if those other cells escape through that haven't been given the thumbs up, they're likely to attack your body. And that's when we start to have immune disorders like autoimmune disease. So when we talk about boosting the immune system, we don't really want to do that. We're not really talking about boosting the inflammation process or the killer cells. But it's true that unmanaged stress and chronic inflammation, which I think John's going to talk about as well, does lead into immune dysfunction, which is never a good thing. Do you want to chat about that a little bit, John, about unmanaged stress and the chronic inflammation?
Hi, Tim. Yeah, it's, I mean, just to reinforce what Tim's saying, the immune system is an incredibly complex thing. And so in order to optimize it, we need to look at things that we can do that are simpler. Now, I think one of the other bits that's interesting for me is that this piece about balance, we've got a number of systems in the body and they all balance each other up. And so one of the systems that we've got around stress is putting ourselves into the stress responses, putting ourselves into the fight or flight, the challenge responses, all of the various stress responses. And what it does is it changes our internal chemistry. It's like we've got these little medicine factories within us that they fire off for various different purposes. And when we go into the stress responses, what we tend to do is we emphasize the parts of the body that are most useful, or we perceive to be most useful, to fight the stressor. And so the body sort of takes that, makes that call. I know I'm going to fight off the tiger. I'm not going to have a bit of a spat with that cold virus because the tiger's about to kill me and the cold virus can wait. You know, it's that kind of decision that it makes. It does similar things around the digestive system as well, but actually a lot of the stress is it's something that we tend to hold ourselves in positions of stress for longer, and when we do, it weakens the immune system. So if we want to find really quick ways to do ourselves a favor as far as the immune goes, reducing stress, finding relaxation are really clear ways that we can actually play with that.
Would you say that stress is the problem, or the way that we manage stress is the issue here?
Personally, I think that it's the way that we manage it. I think stress is a very divisive word. Some people thrive on stress. Some people completely collapse under stress. I think really what happens is that we have an input that we can't necessarily cope with. And if we can't cope with it, we have one type of stress response. If we can cope with it, we have a different type of stress response. So, you know, a good example is if you're stuck in traffic and late for a meeting, quite often you can drop into a stress response that isn't doing you any favors at all. But it can ruin the whole of your day. It can make you worry for the whole of the day. It can knock you off balance for the whole of the day. And we don't manage that very well. So we need to find the techniques that help us to let go of those responses. But other times it could be that you're in a live stream on YouTube and you need to think really, really clearly, now this is a stressor. So at the moment, you know, my internal medicine factories are sort of firing off and trying to put all of the sort of chemistry and all of the energy into the brain to make me think more clearly. So it is depleting my immune system. But as soon as the recording stops, I can switch that off and I can come back into a more balanced state. So it's about appropriate response to the stress that comes in.
And balancing states, I know, is a key part of that. And when we have an increase in the stresses in the body, this can increase the inflammation or the inflammatory response. And we know inflammation is a key aspect of the immune system. We need it. We don't want to switch it off. But chronic inflammation can then lead to a lot of problems. I read somewhere that over 50% of deaths are attributed to the inflammatory response or chronic inflammation. And so in terms of Qigong, I know we've spoken about this a lot, and we work with how to reduce inflammation in terms of that stress response. Would you like to speak into that a little bit?
I'm going to have to say no, I'm afraid. I feel as if you've probably got far greater clarity in that area than I have. So I'd like to throw that one straight back at you, if you don't mind, Tim.
Not at all. And this is the thing about our response systems, in that imagine what happens in the inflammatory response is that it produces heat. And in Qigong, people often say, oh, I've got this feeling of heat. Is that good, or is it a bad thing? And we know heat is really good, because when we bring warmth to an area, it's that inflammation response that the bacteria doesn't like in the body and the viruses don't like, and it can really help get things moving. The other thing is that the inflammation response does is it helps blood flow through the body. As blood flows more freely through the body, the cells can move around a lot more. And so this inflammatory response is helping us a lot. And the same way that when we practice the Qigong, it increases that blood flow, that helps support your immune system because more cells are flowing through the body. But if you overdo it, if you overcook it, if you put the cooker up too much in the body, or in the cooker in your kitchen up too much for the right meal, it ends up getting fried. And this is what happens, is that the perception of stress and the way that we deal with certain things, of course, neither of us are in danger here. My door's closed, there's no tigers in my room, nobody's going to jump out and attack me. The worst that's going to happen is I'll say something that I don't like or somebody doesn't agree with, and then I might have negative thoughts about myself. But it's not a real threat. And when the body feels safe, there's less of that inflammation response. And so we have the appropriate inflammation, the appropriate amount of stressors that help us engage into things, and all of that finds balance within our systems. What we don't want is the accumulation of stressors and the inflammation over long periods of time without finding balance. And this is what I find beautiful about our Qigong, is it does help reduce and release. That relax, release, restore. Does that help with that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love your clarity on that one. So apologies for throwing that back. I would like to bring up something else just before we pass over to Alessandro. One of the things that I always like is this idea that if I practice for however long my personal practice is, so let's say we give ourselves 15 minutes every morning. I would suggest doing more, but let's go 15 minutes. You will get 15 minutes benefit from it. If you go to a class once a week, you get an hour's benefit from it. Now, if we're talking about the benefits of Qigong for the immune system, wouldn't it be nice if we could actually find benefit for the immune system throughout the day, instead of just when we get dressed up and go into our quiet space and wave our arms and legs around? And so I think one of the pieces that I'm really interested in here is we're going to do some work around a morning practice. And Alessandro will take us through some morning work. I'll take us through some morning work. Then we'll talk about how everything integrates and how you can use this throughout the day before we go into some evening work at the end of the session.
I think that's such a fantastic thing. Let's pass it over to Alessandro. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. So, very interesting. Thank you for that introduction. And we're just going to have a practice on how to start the day. And if we stand up and we can join in and follow along. And one of the things when we first wake up often is that we're not always aware even of the stress the body holds, because it's a habit often of holding the stress. So a very simple way to start the day is just to shake off anywhere that feels heavy or stuck. And quite interesting that shaking is something that animals do when they have trauma or stress. They do it immediately, and children do it as well. But as adults, we somehow tend to hold things in a little bit until the time is appropriate. But if we forget, the body kind of keeps it trapped. So just anywhere that feels heavy, and especially the shoulders, the hips, the larger joints, always good to shake these down into the earth and off from the body. And when we shake like this, some of the joints, like especially the wrists and the hands, these days we tend to use a lot on these online meetings, computers, with our mobile phones. So always quite good to keep the fingers very flexible and soft and the joints open, and empty the body down to the earth. And if we just pause for a moment, standing, quite important that we stand well into the earth. So the knees just softly bent, feet parallel, width of the shoulders, and just sense this idea of sinking down into the earth. And when we really connect down to the earth, which is we call it the yin element, the receptive, the feminine, we can just drop everything. The earth accepts everything. It invites everything. And then we'll notice in the body through the standing that some areas maybe still feel a little bit heavy. The body actually tells us what we need. So with Qigong, often if it's kind of a spontaneous reaction, you might think, oh, this shoulder is a bit stiffer. So any area that still needs a bit of work, just do extra for that area. And that's the kind of spontaneous part. And the legs as well, shaking, emptying the legs down to the earth, emptying the arms. So shaking, always very useful and very beneficial. Recently, I was talking to a lady. She said that when she tells her kids off, they shake, and she didn't know why. And she asked them, and they said, because you're telling us off. So even her own kids shake out the telling off. I love that story. So standing back into the earth, just settle everything down. Knees, quite important, this soft bend. If we bend the knees too much, then energy can get a bit stuck. So it's like a soft bend. Feel the feet strongly into the earth and just allow everything to drop down. So that's first part of releasing any stress the body's feeling. Part two is a strengthening practice. So this is all from the Qigong, which is a style that I've been doing with my teacher for 35 years, Mr. Zhijing Wang. And so we're just going through this particular style. So slapping is very beneficial to strengthen the body. And we usually start up at the head, the shoulders, one side, the other side, lower back, which tends to get quite a lot of stress with all the sitting these days. And then the larger joints, like the hips, tend to get a bit maybe underused or lazy. And slapping can really bring the strength physically back to the body. Bending down, if we face forward, more strength into the hips, into the legs. So even this bending down is quite strengthening practice. And they do this in martial arts a lot, slapping for ages to really bring the strength to the different joints, different areas. Lower back, hips. Let's do once more. So even if people are a bit older or less mobile, they can do this sitting down. You can do this more gently. Don't have to do it as hard as I'm doing it, but as hard as is needed, and just bringing the strength back into the body. Then push the hands down, just have another pause. Sense the effect of the slapping, and generally body feels like woken up a bit, and this is why this would be good in the mornings to really activate the cells. And again, with this one, if some areas a bit more strained or a bit weaker, just do extra on that particular hip or the lower back. Anywhere else, the body again tells us what's needed. So one thing about Qigong is when we settle the energy, then we become more aware of what we need to do at that particular time. We're guided that way. Generally, the hands facing down towards the feet, as if they reach the feet. And the center of the feet opening into the earth. We haven't mentioned much on breathing yet. Breathing regularly, but actually more emphasis breathing out from the mouth. take a bit longer breathing out from the mouth, in through the nose. In through the nose, as if breathing all the fresh air in from around us. Breathing out from the mouth, all the stuffy air, anything feels stuck in the body. We're actually oxygenating our blood, improving our circulation. So we've done shaking, the de-stressing, strengthening, the slapping, and then the cleansing or purifying part is we just close the fingers and keep this thumb out. We call this a tiger's mouth. So the cleansing part is moving the energy, touching from the front of the head, back of the head, back of the neck, come to the chest, lower back, kidney area, hips, outside of the legs, down to the feet, shake off. As if collecting dust off the surface. And sometimes when we wake up, we might feel a bit sluggish. Actually, this is just clearing a lot of this sluggishness and cleaning off. So this is going through the whole of the body, down to the toes, shake off. Let's do once more. And then any areas, let's do the shoulders to the hands, because these areas get a lot of stress. We tend to use the arms, obviously, a lot, the hands a lot. Lower back, definitely clearing off from the lower back area, cleaning off. So anywhere feels a bit stuck, you just clean it off, almost energetically, you're cleaning the body. Just standing again, sense the effect of the purifying or cleansing part. Might feel a bit lighter, so we've taken a few layers off the body, beginning to feel more insubstantial, if you like. And the more we connect with the earth, actually, then we want to start connecting also with the sky or the heaven. So we can just bring the arms up and open the chest to the horizon, up into the sky, and stretch a little bit. The arms through the ceiling, feet through the earth. Feel as if you're taller, extended up and down. Fingertips searching for this energy, the qi, always up there in the heaven, the yang energy. As if we can catch it on the fingertips, bring it down towards the body, back of the head, front, without touching, lower back, through the hips, through the feet into the earth, turn, come up the inside. Just pause at the middle of the chest as if the fingers searching for the spine. Want to open the whole front part, the chest, extending. Think of the spine extending to the hands, then the arms more easily float up. Catch the qi on the fingertips, bring it down towards the body, back of the head, front, lower back, through the hips, through the feet into the earth. Keep the breathing regular, breathing out from the mouth, in through the nose. So this is, we call it the self-healing form, actually moving the heaviness down through the body into the earth, the yin element, down where it belongs, connecting with the yang or the pure element, catching the qi, bringing it down towards the body, through the body, and helping the flow of energy all the way through. Feel the spine quite flexible as we come up and bend down. Let's do once more. And this movement can easily be broken down for the arms, for the legs. So any part of the body that needs more work when we have a longer session, we this time just push down to the feet, have a pause. And then just bring the hands to the lower abdomen, the dantian, just below our belly button. Right hand on the inside for ladies, men left on the inside. Doesn't always have to be this way, but with this style, this is what we do. Right hand on the inside for ladies, men left. And just breathing down to where the hands are. Sense the breath where we feel the hands. Just close the eyes gently. This is where we breathe when we're born, where young children breathe. As we stand, sense the feet strongly rooted and the breath settling down to our main energy center. We call it the lower dantian. Sense the gentle movement there. If we don't sense the movement, gently press down, you breathe out. Feel this area emptying. Breathing in, filling up. Then allow the breath to just continue by itself, no effort needed. So settling the breath, settling the energy down to earth. Feel the feet very large into the earth, the head slightly floating up, as if the body has more capacity to contain the energy. A lot of the heaviness dropped off. Feel grounded, getting more centered, the breath. And if we have time, we just continue for longer, either standing or sitting down, focusing on this internal relaxed breathing to help us prepare for the day or for whatever is needed to settle our whole energy system. For now, gently press down 2-3 times. Just concentrate the energy further. So we don't want to come away too quickly, but just gently coming off. Move the fingers, become clearer. The fingers relate to all the senses, also relate to the internal organs. So I always try and keep the fingers very soft and flexible and also help the clarity of the mind. So if we do something short like this every day, can get the energy activated, balanced, and prepare for the day. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to pass over to John, who's going to continue in his style, something for the mornings.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you. My technical incompetence and rushing around catching me out there. Yeah, wonderful to practice a little bit of Qigong. It's a style that I trained in for a while, and it's a very powerful thing to do. My style that I focus in now is a system called Qigong, and the set that I'd like to share with you, it's around the idea of opening and mobilizing. There's one of the key aspects that we use within Qigong, which is about release and gather back. So when we think of release, there's a question about what are we releasing? And in the mornings, that's up to you. You'll figure it out. You know, what is it that you release? Maybe it's that sort of foggy head. Maybe it's the state that you've woken up in. Maybe it's the worries for the day. And then what you gather back, I think, is really important as well. There's an idea that where the mind goes, the Qi follows. So when we draw Qi back, do we really want to be energizing all of our worries? Do we really want to be energizing all of our concerns? Or do we want to energize the potential that we have within us? So this is a practice that I'd typically use in the morning to mobilize the body. And let's say it comes from the Qigong system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up from where Alessandro left off and ask you to come into a comfortable stance. And in that comfortable stance, just take a moment. Allow the breath to settle. Allow the body to relax. And then gently lift Bahui, lift the crown, and allow the neck to release and open. Lift Huiyin. Huiyin is in the center of the pelvic area. This is cradling your chi. This is cradling you. And then release Huilu, release the tailbone downwards. This just helps to open and mobilize the spine, and then gently allow the body to rock back and forth. So typically a morning practice would start very, very quietly, and then we could build it. So the practice we're going to use, I refer to this as turning the thumbs. So the idea is push the thumbs forwards, and as they push forwards, it's a very subtle movement. Allow the front of the body to open. And then allow the thumbs to gently turn back, and as it does, notice the shoulder blades open. Notice the back release. Thumbs forwards, front of body opens. Thumbs back, back of body opens. So all the work that Alessandro was doing, you can use this beyond that to actually take the opening and allow it to travel through the entire body. It's an alternative or an addition, it doesn't matter. Just gently moving, opening the front, opening the back. You'll have to excuse any cars rushing by. I am in a tent. Continue. You may find that this naturally coordinates with the breath, but just keep the movement very subtle, very small, very relaxed. Stay with it. Opening the back, opening the front. And as you become familiar with the movement, you can relax further and further into it. Okay, so as a morning practice, we want to wake up. We want to open up space. So we're going to extend the movement, keep it going, but next time the thumbs turn forwards, open them out a little further. When they turn back, bow the body down a little further. Thumbs forwards, open the front of the body, opens up a little bit more space. So thumbs turn back, bow body down. Release a little bit more space. Opening the front, and as the arms gradually open out, we're starting to massage all the internal spaces within the body. We can take time to actually massage all the internal organs with this movement. But simply allow the movement to grow. Opening front. Opening back. If it coordinates with the breath and the breath is helping the idea, enjoy the breath. If it doesn't coordinate with the breath, just enjoy the idea. Open front. Open back. Bigger and bigger movement. Allow it to continue to extend. So we get to a point that we're opening the whole of the back of the body, the whole of the spine. And then when the hands rise, we open the whole of the front of the body. Within the Qigong system, This movement is called Renmai Dumai. Renmai and Dumai, the two central channels. So we're opening and releasing the space in Renmai and Dumai. When Renmai and Dumai open, the whole body responds. Qi can flow more easily through the entire system. So from the ends of the toes to the tips of the fingers, opening, releasing. A few more times, big movement. And then the next time the hands get up to the top, allow them to pause at the top. Allow the body to continue moving very softly like a reed in the river. Arms above the head. As you do this, notice Renmai, notice Dumai, notice the front of the body and the back of the body. Mobilized. Okay, what we'll do now is the next time we open the front of the body. Open and just pause. Don't allow the back of the neck to collapse. We're just opening the front of the body. Enjoy. Whole of the front open. Then hands connect up into blue sky. And working from the top of the neck, bow the body down. So taking longer to bow the body down, working through the neck, through the mid-spine, through the lumbar spine. And as you come down, hold the elbows in the hands, keep the legs straight, lift the tailbone up, release the back of the neck. And on each out breath, just release a little bit more space in the spine. It's not a stretch, it's an opening. Breath travels into lower dantian, releases out through the arms and the upper body. A few more times. Then release the hands. Tailbone is still lifted up. And then sink the tailbone down and unfurl the spine from the bottom. Hands rising up into the blue sky. Open front of body, just pause with the whole of the front of the body open. Hands reach up into blue sky. Bow body down, working down through the neck, through the mid-spine, through the lumbar spine, holding the elbows. Releasing back of neck, breathing into lower dantian. And the out breath, releasing the spine. Opening and relaxing. Continue breathing into lower dantian, releasing on the out breath. Then relax the hands, release the hands down. Tailbone is still lifted up. And then sink huelu, sink the tailbone and unfurl the spine. Arms rising up into blue sky. And this time, just come back to moving freely like a reed in the river. Renmai, Dumai, open. Then gently draw the hands down. Notice center of head. Notice center of chest. Notice center of abdomen. Open out into the hip joints. Release down through the legs. We will bend down with this. So notice the knees, the ankles, the feet. Lift Qi up. Draw Qi down. Notice center of head. Connecting down through the neck and the shoulders into the center of the chest. Continue down into the center of the abdomen. Open out into the hip joints. Release down through the knees, the ankles, the feet. Lift Qi up. Once more, through the whole body, draw Qi down through the head, through the neck and the shoulders, into the chest, down into the abdomen, out into the hip joints, down through the legs, knees, ankles, feet. Lift Qi up. And this time, draw Qi down to lower dantian, down to the center of the abdomen. Take your time and enjoy. Pausing at lower dantian. And here, just a few times, a very simple movement. Open the elbows, open the wrists, open the arms, release out. You can feel the whole body release and open. And when you gather back in, draw back fresh potential into that space you've created. Open elbows, wrists, hands, release in all directions. Draw back Hunyuanqi, pure potential, into the space that you've created. Once more. Open, release, dissolve. Draw back Hunyuanqi and pause with the hands in front of lower dantian. Take a moment. Sometimes we say Huang Huang Hu Hu, Kung Kung Dan Dan, and this means empty but not empty, full of potential, whole body relaxed and all functions normal. Enjoy for a few breaths. And then a final gesture, similar to Alessandro's closing, releasing the arms out into the blue sky. I draw feet together, up to you. Draw hands back. One hand on top of the other, on the navel, connecting back into lower dantian. A few breaths to nourish Qi in lower dantian. Then relaxing the hands to the sides, easing out. It's a very simple morning practice for you. So yes, let's come together and have a little conversation between the teachers that are here then and explore some of these ideas a little bit that we're working with. So let's grab everybody in here.
Hello, that was
Hi.
lovely. It was great how it built on what Alessandro did, and it was like, oh, really nice. I could really feel a great one to do in the morning. You wake up your body, but there's this gentle extension and opening. There's nothing rushed. There's a respectful approach that you don't kind of go, right, we've got to wake up really quickly. Although if you do, that tapping's great, isn't it? Because hello, wake up, when I need you on board, and yeah, but it's still very respectful. That's what I love about Qigong. Yeah.
Well, welcome, Clara.
Yeah, thank you. Hello. Hi.
Yeah, so lovely to work with the breath and the body in that way. When we think about the sleep time, and we come to that afterwards, but you can get a lot of stagnation in the body. People work up stiff. So in Alexandra's the techniques and the softness and the gentleness and the kindness that we're bringing into the body and the attention is so beautiful. And then bring that in with your practice there as well, which then starts to bring stuff out. It's like a flower opening up to the sun as well. And what's so beautiful about that, John, is that it's integrating the whole of the body as well. And so when we think of clearing the energy with Alexandra's stuff, and then we've got the energy starting to move and stimulate and expand through the body. And this is a great way for us to take care of our immune systems, because our immune systems want that care. They don't want too much hardship, and they don't want stagnation, as we look at in the Chinese medicine, how things stagnate. So we don't want things to stagnate. So absolutely beautiful practice singly and together.
Yeah, I think one of the other things that Alessandro and myself have both done is we've offered you practices that are complete. We're not offering, we're offering practices that are, it's about creating that balance. It's about creating that space. And I think that as a basis for morning practice, doing something that actually enables that freedom for, okay, today when I open, I may notice that my breath's a bit restricted. I may notice that my lungs are tight, or I might notice that my kidneys are a bit tight, but every day is different. As Alessandro said in his, there's some areas, some days they need attention. Give them some attention on those days, but it isn't about you need to tap 15 times here and then 32 times here. There's a freedom that I think is really important when we're actually bringing the systems back into balance with both of the approaches.
I was feeling that this respectful piece, exactly, we have time at the beginning of the day to actually tune in with what it is our system is needing from us. And you're so right, it's different every day, although it's similarities on the differences. So yeah, if you've got you wake up, you've twisted your shoulder while you're asleep or something, you think, oh, hang on, that needs a little bit more today. Or and it just gives time, doesn't it, to check in with yourself before you go out and do all the out there stuff. But I think it would be really interesting to talk about that. How do we stay, because this practice is so beautiful, you almost want to just stay with this. It's like, but hang on, I've got to go to work, I've got to go and look after this, that and the other, I've got to go and do stuff. So yeah, I think this is the next piece, isn't it? How can we continue to tap in during the day to top ourselves up or remind ourselves of that quality of being that we gain from this beautiful practice.
Good timing. So let's hand over to you now, Clara, and to go into our next bit of our Qigong practice for a during the day practice. Yeah.
Well, actually, I thought we were going to go in to do little bits each.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
Because
we can do.
Come back, John. Come back.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
I'd love to sort of know, what do you do in the middle of the day? I mean, so for instance, I do too much work on the computer just because it's an amazing device and it enables me to do quite a lot of stuff. But I use my phone and I put it on a timer, and each hour I will, when the timer goes off, I literally get on my chair, I'll move away from that. And what do I need? What do I need? A bit like we were saying, what do I need? Often a little bit of shaking. I mean, that's just so brilliant. You can bring the shake in anywhere, in any kind of way. I really quite like the the golden rooster shakes the forest, where you do that and you actually wobble your behind, and that seems to be really good for the lower back. But your body knows, do you need to shake the leg out, or do you need to shake? So shaking is something that I use throughout the day to bring, because it's a great disperser of tension, but also after you've shaken, as we did with Alessandro, you come into that, oh, now I can land back in a refreshed version of myself. So that's something that I do. That's just something that I do. I just wondered what each of you do, what your ad hoc in the middle of the day could be.
I'm going to be a little bit greedy. I'm going to be a little bit greedy here, and I'm going to do two. And I'm just going to pick up on one of Alessandro's techniques. And where we're brushing down, how often during the day have you got sort of discomfort and you give it a rub? Yeah. Oh, my back's hurting. Make that your Qigong. Take the time to, instead of just going, put a little bit more mind into it, put a little bit more effort into it. That can be part of the integration of practice. But similarly, this movement of turning the thumbs that I did, I think this is a really simple movement that, when you're standing there waiting for the kettle to boil, or something's going on, and you can just sort of just do a stretch. No one's going to notice. You can do that in the supermarket queue, and no one's going to look strangely at you. I must admit, Clara, if someone was in front of me wobbling their arse in the supermarket, I may give them a distance.
Okay, so if I'm out in the middle of people, I'm standing in a queue. This is another really great one to do because it's super simple, and you can do it undetected, where you just stand in your broad width position. I tend to be slightly more than hip width, shoulder width, but that's to get a foundation. You come into your breath, As you breathe out, you surrender into the support that's underneath you. So you soften into the strength within you. You think, oh, I was 7 people in front of me, I'm going to be here for a while. Tuning into the rhythm of your breath. And then just letting yourself begin to rock with the rhythm of the breath. So as you breathe out, you rock forwards into the balls of your feet. And as you breathe in, you rock backwards into your heels. And you just continue doing that, and I find that really soothing in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you can do a small version if, you know, I'm quite used to this, so I tend to take it to the extremes of my balance. But it's showing me that my balance is broader than just one place. But what you can do when you've had a little play with that, it's a nice massage on the soles of the feet. You can breathe into this magical dantian area. This is your center of balance. And you can draw the movement so it's not quite so far forward, not quite so far back. And before you know it, you've come into a place of the optimal balance for your system in that moment. You breathe into that and own the spaciousness that it offers you. And then, like magic, there's only one person in front of you in the queue by now. You're ready to step forward and go, I'm ready.
I think we could spend a whole practice just on that, couldn't we? As well,
We could, and that's
doing
the
that
thing. Yeah, I mean, it is a fundamental one, but you can do a simple version of it.
Yeah,
wherever you go.
Absolutely. So the one or the things, the combination of the things that I do. Interesting enough, it's what you guys are doing yourself. So I just want to check that the pin is on my video at the moment, just in case, because I can't tell if it is or not. So as I'm speaking, you've got over me. That's good. That is very good. So the things to remember in terms of the immune system is we're looking to balance out the systems and support the systems. Balance and support. The things that restrict the systems or deplete the systems is unnecessary tension and unnecessary effort. One of the simple places where we make a lot of unnecessary effort or tension is our breath. So just as Clara was saying there, wherever you are, and you can do this right now, as you're sitting here listening to this, standing here listening to this, is notice where your breath is, first of all. So if you just notice where your breath is, first of all, the interesting thing that often happens for people is they suddenly make a reshift in their body to realign their body. So when we say to people in classes, I'm sure you guys notice this, say, I just notice your breath. And they go, and they realign their body, because then they notice that the held tensions that are in the body are creating that stuckness. Now, they might not know that it's creating stuckness, but it is. And so the moment we bring mind to breath, it gives us that opportunity and platform for change and release. So we're looking to bring balance back into the systems and help restore the systems, not deplete the systems. Mind to breath, breath to body. Then you can notice, bringing together the practice we've had from everybody here today so far, is bringing that awareness down to the chi hai. That's the main dantian, 2-3 inches or so below navel, and in the center of the body, co-located with the physical center of the body. Bring mind to breath, breath to body, and then just notice if you can softly bring it down to here, there to the chi hai. Why? Because it helps you bring back into the present moment. When our mind is off to all the things that we've got to do and succeed through the day, we're depleting the systems through too much thinking. Thinking's good, but it's just a tool, and then we bring ourselves back. Alignment of the body naturally allows the chi to flow through the body. And then the thing to do is, if you've been sitting down, gravity's been pushing all of that tension and energy into your lower back, and it stops blood moving. For your immune system, you need to get blood moving through your body so that those cells can find the pathogens and the bacteria that they don't really want in there as the things that aren't self, in order to get rid of them. So how do we do that? Well, any of the exercises that we've had so far with the tapping, the stroking, the expanding, the bending forward. But one of the ones I like to do is come into that wuji position. and then gently pedal from side to side. Now, if you do this with me a second, guys, and then you can get a felt sense of this, and everybody at home is watching this as well, often our mind, our awareness is somewhere else. And it doesn't matter how you stand it, if it's wider or narrower, just as long as you're comfortable. And just notice if your knees are on lock, jammed back, or they're off lock. And then bring your awareness to your buttocks. People tend to clench their buttocks, and especially when they're sitting down dealing with stressy things, just unclench your buttocks. And then as you shift to your left, become aware of the weight in your left foot. As you shift to the right, become aware of the weight in your right foot. Shift to the left, shift to the right. And this won't put anybody off in a queue. Yes. So if you are at the supermarket or the bank and you're gently doing this, it shouldn't weird anybody out too much. And this is good. But where your awareness is helps, as John said, that's where the energy will follow as well. So shift and notice, and now bring your awareness to your ankles. How do they feel? Does the left feel like the right? Does the right feel like the left? But keep your awareness in your ankles at the moment and don't go into the rest of the body yet. Then bring your awareness into your knees, and then the space between your knees and your hips, still shifting from one side to the other, can be really subtle or it can be bigger. No rules around this. You can't get it wrong. So don't need to worry about anything. Just leave your awareness in your thighs and then your hips and your buttocks and just notice how that feels. And then bring your awareness to one side of the body and then the other side of the body, but just keep your body in that upright position as you shift from one side to the other. And then notice your shoulders, and then notice your arms and your hands, and then notice your neck and your head. And already, what I love about this is for the Qigong guys here, they've spontaneously gone into some beautiful Qi movements. And you might find yourself doing that as well, even if you're brand new to Qigong, is spontaneously going into some movement and flow. But what will happen is you do this, you bring the awareness into the whole of the body. And for however long you've been doing this, you're not thinking about anything else of the day, any worries or stress. So you're supporting your nervous system, especially your parasympathetic nervous system, and your whole body and your immune system as well. You're not taking anything away from it. And then just settle back down to that stillness, come back to your chi high again, and then rub your palms together. Place the palms over the eyes and the face. And then I rub around my face and the head. And guess what I do, Alexandra? I shake off. I love this. I shake off, I move around, I have a walk around and then integrate the energy and myself back into myself. So for all that sitting down and that blockages that happen, it's all suddenly moving and our mind is already clear without any sitting down meditation and everything's already clearer. This is how I wake myself up during the day and get energy flowing as well as an ad hoc Qigong exercise. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, Alessandro, have you got something?
Well,
so good,
I was going to talk about the breath and the feet, and you've covered all of that. So I think maybe something around sitting, healthy sitting position, because a lot of us, you know, if we're working or on computers, we are sitting. And what happens often when we sit back on the chair, for example, our energy tends to be a bit collapsed. We just get a bit lazy and loose, the body does. So I was going to recommend just sitting forwards in the chair more so that the hip bones are actually on the edge of the front of the chair, not so we fall off, but you know, quite comfortable. Then the feet flat on the ground. A lot of people tend to cross their legs when they sit. You know, the worst thing for the spine. Feet into the ground and the hips on the edge of the chair towards the front, and then just move the tailbone a little bit and feel the spine kind of wanting to release a bit, like the head floats up slightly. And so our spine is straight. So when we're working, actually straight spine, feet in the ground, we're kind of aligned. We often working positions get very lazy and habitual, you know, like say we cross our legs as a habit. So I always remind myself, feet into the ground while I'm working or sitting. I'm re-energizing from the earth. And my spine is soft and flexible. If it gets lazy and collapsed, I remind myself, hang on, what's happened to the spine? It's kind of flopped down a bit. Let me just straighten without effort, though. It's like the spine itself always wants to extend down to earth, up to heaven. So we allow its natural state. Yeah. So what, sitting and staying healthy while we're working, I think is quite important.
I love that one because that's just so Qigong, but sitting down, isn't it? I don't know if you noticed, but I've got this rather peculiar looking one. Yeah, and it moves around on a little ball. I've got no shares in this company, by the way, but it's like sitting down, like we do in our Qigong when we sit down in a stance.
Yeah,
and you can adjust the height of it according to what you're doing. And you can mobilize yourself when you're sitting down, because for a lot of chairs, we're immobilized, which creates stagnation.
Yeah.
And that puts a lot of pressure on. So sometimes when I'm on screen, you might see me wibbling and wobbling.
Well, I was going to say, like, following on from what Alessandro was saying and what because not everybody's got a perch like yours, Tim. But
exactly.
Hey, it's looking cool. Is that you say you were just wiggling the tailbone, but you can also let the whole body, there's spontaneous movement. What does the body want to do? If it wants to do a bit of movement, you can circulate it, or with that straight spine, so that you can keep the flow going, because you're so right. When we sit, we tend to stay in one position because we're so in the computer doing the stuff. It's like, whoa, and the shoulder starts tensing. That's your body getting your attention to go, hang on, I can't keep doing this. It's causing contraction. We need to, and you can do a bit of shoulder rolling. I've actually started using a riser on my computer so that I can stand up during the day sometimes to do my work. And I think you can go between different positions of work as well. So yeah, I mean, within Qigong, there's always this play between movement and stillness, and we don't want too much of either. We want a dance between the both, and we're back into balance again. And when we are in balance, that's when our immune system is optimized, because that's our natural state. We're returning to this balanced state that is ingrained at the very center of every single one of our cells. And I don't know about you, but I find that when people have come into Qigong maybe for the first 2 or 3 times, they say, oh my goodness me, I feel like I've come home. I've come back to a relationship with myself that I didn't realize wasn't there until I returned to it. I'm going, here I am. And I think that's to do with this reclaiming the balance that is actually essentially who we are.
Yeah. And reconnecting, embodying the energy. Often the mind is thinking things, the body's all the way down there. Actually, it's right here.
And it's embodying balance, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that we become balanced. And all of us now, because we've been chatting, and maybe might be doing this at home as well, are you finding that you're realizing there is actually more potential for movement here? And when I feel like coming into stillness, it's because I'm called to it rather than because I have to. Mm-hmm. And there's something about when you reach stillness from movement, there's a quality to it that's difficult to put to words to, but I hope you've enjoyed some of that anyway.
Yeah. So we're going to just checking on the timing for us as well. We're going to move into your part, if you like. Yeah, is that about the right timing?
Yes.
Yeah, let's put you on the spotlight and remove ourselves.
Put me on the spot, why don't you? All right. Very, very good. So we're going to come into some practice that's more towards the end of the day. So this is preparing us for more of a relaxed time, or, if you need to do any gentle work in the evening, it's an idea to take care of your body after you've maybe been out walking the dog, or you've been out doing everything else that you need to do. And so it's about really reclaiming the balance that is, again, always trying to beckon you back in. And interestingly, the exercises that that Alessandro and that John have shown you have all been very interesting about the spine and the Renmei and the Dumai, and these are the extraordinary meridian lines, the Dumai that travels up the back and the Renmei that travels down the front. That's part of the great heavenly circuit, or the microcosmic orbit. So these meridian lines, they serve the other organ meridians that you may well be aware of. So what I was feeling into was to share something with you around coming into resourcing ourselves from the day, sort of gathering in everything from the day, all the resource, but also clearing that which we don't want to take into our evening, whilst activating this powerful extraordinary meridian line that travels around our waist that is called the Dai Mai. It's all about the Mai, the Du Mai, the Ren Mai, the Dai Mai, which is like the belt channel. And this is the one that nourishes the kidneys. And the kidneys are a really important part of our whole energetic physiology here for so many reasons that are too numerous to go into here. But as part of the elemental Qigong that I share, kidney work is fundamental for our energy, our vitality, but our bones and our nerves and all the fluids in our system, but also around this emotion of fear. And so to clear the fear is what we're going to be doing here as well. And it's quite simple, which is nice. So we're going to come back to our Wu-Ji position, which is the classic standing posture. Just do a little bit of a jig. There we go. And let yourself settle from all that excitement of like, oh, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that. This is on replay, so you don't need to take any notes. You can come back and go over the bits that you like. So here and now, just letting yourself land and be. And I invite you to sigh as well. Sighing out, dropping into the support of the great grandmother earth beneath you, thanking her for all the nourishment she grows you, for being there to hold you and your loved ones and your homes. And as you breathe out with your sigh, feel your energetic roots gliding graciously down into her body as you make that connection in, anchoring in to the safety of our planet. So when your body feels safe, it can soften. So feel your physical body release the tensions in the muscles from all the movement of the day, and come into noticing the strength of your bones in your legs, strength of your bony cradle of the pelvis, and the strength of your long, strong spine that snakes up through its natural curves, where it docks in with your skull, softening the jaw joint, softening your face and your scalp, taking a deep breath into your belly. And let your arms hang out of your shoulders so the shoulders relax and release. Nothing to do here. Coming into being the breathing being you are. And there's ease in your ankles and your knees. And your hips are finding a neutral place to hang in. And your abdomen is soft as you breathe. And notice the rhythm of your breath. Watching the air gliding in and out of your body. If you make a sound when you breathe out, it tends to elongate the out breath. This helps to bring us into a more yin state of receiving, because as you see, when you make that connection down into the Great Mother, it opens up the energetic roots that enable the discharge of that which is ready to leave your system. So just by standing in your Wu-Chi here, you're already letting go of the tension, anxiety, fears that are ready to leave. Just by breathing and being. The next time you breathe out, just let the palms turn forwards as we pick up the chi here and we connect in with each and every one of us here on the call and on the replay. Welcoming each other here in our virtual circle of chi-ness. Smiling at yourself. Smiling is a very useful energy to bring positivity in and to soften and receive. And so imagine this big ball of smiling chi in our circle here, and we're going to just gather some of that round. There's plenty for everyone. You're going to gather it round. And you're going to beam it into your belly, into this dantian area, this rechargeable unit in your belly. And see this like a balloon that inflates as you breathe. It may just feel like intriguing. You've got your curiosity cap on. What is she talking about? I'll give it a go. Being open, being curious. So here the hands bounce in the air. They just ease in, they soften. But the center of your palms are pointing into the center of your belly. And this is a great gathering posture. Holding the ball. Could be here for a good 15 minutes, but as advertised, we're going to nourish the kidneys here. First port of call is always rooting into the earth, gathering into the dantian. These are your fundamental, foundational considerations with your practice. Because then you've got some chi to move around. You've cleared out the old, you're receiving the new. Because you received the new, because you've cleared out the old. There is so much to share with you here, and we're going to be offering you another session on February the 18th, which we'll tell you more about, where we're going to be able to go into more detail on what we're offering you here. But just for now, imagine that around your waist is like a Jupiter ring of light. And that the center of your palms is connecting in with that. We're going to let our palms move around this center, this skirt of light. And we're going to let our shoulder blades begin to move towards each other, which helps to open the arms. And the palms are still facing into the waist. And when they get as far as they can, the forearms are going to move. And you're going to beam into your kidneys. Oh, yes. Sorry, I just love this so much. Oh, it's such a robust offering of chi into the kidneys. And as you breathe out next, let the hands come back round to the front again. Back home, back to docking in. As you can guess, this can run with the rhythm of the breath really nicely. So we're going to breathe in deeply. Open the palms, arms. Breathe into the kidneys. Nourish the kidneys. And as you breathe out, bring the hands back round to base. Then going to breathe in. Open. Circulate. Nourish kidneys. Breathe out. Come back to base. One more from the side. Breathing in. And breathing out. So I'd recommend you do this like 9 times minimum to yourself. But then I also would like to just take you to the next stage of it, which is clearing. So you've nourished the kidneys. You're now going to help let go of the fear and the other detritus that can sit around the stagnant kidney chi. And this is actually following the pathway that Alessandro has already opened for you. So we're going to breathe into kidneys. And as we breathe out, we sweep down just away from the body, down the bladder meridian line. We're clearing all the way down. We're going to go into the palms facing the earth, composting deeply into the earth, letting the head go. And then the palms of the hands face into the ankles. And as John was saying, you drop the coccyx, you let the body unfurl up, drawing the palms up, back of the hands together, and then you're back home again in the dantian. So you can rest here a while, because sometimes when you go forwards, you get a little bit spinny in the head if you've got low blood pressure. But also, this is not a race. This is not anything you need to hurry with. You can feel into, whoa, what did I like about that? What did I think was a bit curious? And then drop back into, I'm doing myself some real good here. I'm helping to clear stagnation, create flow, and optimize my immune system by being in balance. Let's do this move again. We're going to breathe in and take the palms to the kidneys. Breathe out, clear down the discharge channels, composting into the earth. Breathing in, drawing up fresh new vitality into the dantian. Breathing out, settling. One more time, breathing into kidneys. Breathing out, clearing, releasing down deep, deep, deep into the earth, many miles down. And then the chi you pick up is from the surface. It bubbles up, receiving into the space that's being created. And you return it all to the dantian. So pausing here. Again, doing this 9 times if you would like in your own time. But here, imagining the 9 times. Every time you did 1, it was actually 3. Smile at yourself and say, yeah, there's different ways I can approach this to make it easy for me, to make it interesting, so I'll give it a go, give it a flow. So you've activated these pathways through all of the practices that are here on this recording. And now you're gathering into this reservoir, this dantian foundational energy area. It's like your internal energy bank. You're building up a powerful center, a robustness. Yeah. So smile at yourself, a bit of chi chuffness, doing all right today. I'm going to breathe in this new refreshing golden chi to my belly. And as I breathe out, I'm going to float the hands back to the crossed hand position, just gathering it all in. Feeling it expanding within you in such a gentle, powerful way that it travels down your legs, up your body, down your arms, into your head. And you rub your belly and go, yum, yum, I love my chi full tum, or something like that. Being light about your practice, making it more fun for yourself, will help your chi to flow and maybe even deepen you in more. So just coming back to stillness. And know that as you do this for yourself, you're also radiating this chi out into the field around you. So it really is about taking care of you. Is going to take care of everything. Thank you. Thank you for playing with some elemental Qigong with me here. I'm going to hand you over to Tim now for another evening practice to continue on. So keep your chi up, my friends. Go well.
Thank you very much, Clara, for that one as well. A really beautiful practice, and brings us into something very important about the progression and practice of Qigong during the day, which is how to take care of ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically as well, through the mind, through the body, through breath, because we get so involved with things, we accumulate a lot of stuff during the day. The way that the immune system is working, if we sort of come back to that, is it's every moment of the day through those 8 trillion cells in the body, it's doing this most amazing job of keeping that homeostasis, getting rid of the things that are no longer useful. Yeah, noticing the things that shouldn't be there and supporting the things that are, so that you can have life. And that immune system is your life. Without the immune system, no life. And so when we reflect that back the other way, we can look at how are we supporting our immune system? How are we supporting it in the way that we can work with the nature of the immune system? It's already figured it out for us. We just tend to muck it up a little bit sometimes because of the unnatural way that we now live this modern life in so many ways. So the immune system's working hard to get rid of the toxins. It's working hard to get rid of the chronic inflammation and the stresses as well. But we can help that with the Qigong through everything that you've learned so far with John, with Clara and Alessandro, with stimulating, with moving the Qi around and coming back to that very kind and restful place. You notice that each of the practice came back to the Qi Hai, the main Dantian, because that's our physical, energetic center, our storehouse of energy. And so that brings us to the aspect of Qigong, which is working on restoration. And sleep is part of that restoration. And we can take sleep for granted, like our health, until sleep is no longer working for us well, or sleep is disturbed, or we wake up in the morning not feeling rested or restored, but feeling like we need a lot more energy. So something hasn't gone right there. And part of that can be overstimulating ourselves or overstimulating yourself before you go to bed. And there's a number of things that you can do. I mean, one of the really practical things that I learned some time ago is do not bring your phone into your bedroom. And some people say, yeah, but I need an alarm clock. And I say, buy an alarm clock. Yes, it's much easier. Don't bring your phone into your bedroom because there's a temptation to look at it. This type of light that we get from the TV, from the computer, from the phones, although you can adjust your screens for that, it's not great for the brain, not great for the body, not great for the nervous system, especially at nighttime. One of the things you can really do to help yourself and the immune system is to prepare yourself for sleep. And the system of Qigong that I come from is called Shaolin Cosmos Qigong. The beautiful thing about the Shaolin Temple is that it was an academy. It was an academy for all the best teachers from various different traditions to come in there and share the stuff that they had, and then became a translation center. So all the things that we get from John and Alexandra and Clara, these things are thousands of years old, and they filtered through, some of these things filtered through the Shaolin Temple and ended up in these very simple Zen practices, because the Shaolin Temple was Zen. And they looked at the Qigong in terms of cleansing, building, and nourishing. It doesn't have to be in that order, by the way. And what Clara was helping us with the nourishing kidneys is an aspect of nourishing and an aspect of cleansing. When we look at John's practice, that's a very beautiful cleansing, can be building, and it can be nourishing, depends on how you practice it. Same with Alexandro's technique, it can be clearing, it can be spreading the energy, it can be moving that energy as well. The way that we come down in the body helps to move and restore that energy, but it can also be used as cleansing. When we come back to stillness, it's a way of building energy and restoring the energy. And think about that as your reset button. You know your phone doesn't work if you keep it on all the time. Occasionally you have to do that magic thing like computers and phones. What do? You switch it off, you switch it back on again. It seems to reset itself, yes? And so the Qigong is like a reset, that Wuji position, standing neutral position, resting in stillness is a way of restoring yourself. So think about your day. I don't know how your day is or your evening or what you do just before bed, but if you really wanted to help yourself with your immune system, think about it in terms of, how can I restore? How can I nourish here? How can I let go of the things that have accumulated through the day that can be overload for the systems? And there's a practice that we have called carrying the moon. I'll share the form with you first of all, and then we do it as a Qigong practice as we've done the other practices, which is more mindfully and more gentle, and working with the breath as well. But let's do the form together first of all, and then you won't have to think about or worry about, can I remember the form? Yeah. Worry is a bit like a chocolate teapot. Looks nice, not much use. Yes. So the carrying the moon, we come into that wuji position. However you stand is fine. In my practice, it's a little bit narrow, which is the feet and legs underneath the hips. But if you're a bit more comfortable standing out like this and grounding yourself, then that's how you stand. But for now, can I suggest that you try a little bit narrower? Now, this might be counterintuitive to your normal stances where you feel more grounded and more rooted, and there's a reason for that. What we want to do is temporarily unground ourselves, like floating in a flotation chamber. If you've ever been in one of these flotation chambers, you're not grounded, you're floating, but the whole of the body can release and let go. As the Zen saying says, let go or be dragged. And what happens is we accumulate so much stuff through the day, we forget to let go when we come to sleep. So here we take the knees off lock, and then release your bum as well, release the buttocks. There's a hand form with this one that looks like holding the moon. So if you bring your hands up like this for a moment, and the fingers are circled, so it's like you hold your hands like this, like a moon, with the fingers, it's a circle. It's not a perfect circle. Take them away, and then you see you've got like holding a moon. My friend used to say it's like holding a burger. Yes. And the moon goes up above your head, and imagine you like tipping something now onto your face. So you've picked up a pot and you've brought the pot above your head and you've tipped that pot over your head. Yeah. So that's how the hand form would go. The arms would be slightly bent, the hands would come up, and then you're going to lean back a little bit and look up. Not leaning back so much that you would close your throat or the meridians down the front. You don't want to close the channel down the front. And then look forwards again, and then bring your hands down to the sides of the body. Yeah, that part's quite simple, isn't it? So you bring the hands up above your head, you would lean back a little bit, look through the hands, like you're looking at the moon through the telescope of your hands, bring the body upright so you're looking forwards, and now bring the hands down to the sides of your body. The next part is we're going to come down, just like we've done in the other exercises, but this time, rather than coming down to your toes, just hang loose around about your knee height. The energy is naturally going to flow to the byway, the energy center at the crown of the head, so it's going to flow up the spine to the crown. Now, as you gently unfurl and breathe in as you come up, you come into that carrying the moon movement. Bend backwards slightly, looking up, make sure your knees aren't jammed back. Yeah, keep your knees loose, bring your body upright, and then bring the hands down at the sides of the body. Don't worry about trying to get this perfect. Yeah, if you ended up doing this as you carried the moon, but you're enjoying yourself, just as Clara said, it's better to enjoy yourself in your Qigong than try and get really serious about getting things right. Then we start worrying and bringing unnecessary tension into the body again. We don't need to do that. So we come down, we breathe in as we come up, hands soft, bring the body upright, and then bring the hands down. Now, it's not exactly the same, but it's quite similar to the movements that we've practiced with John as well. So your body's already going to start to remember how to do aspects of this. And it's also similar to what we were doing with Clara Alessandro's Qigong as well. Yeah, all these similarities that join this together, coming down And then breathe in as you come up. Pause the movement and the breath. Come upright and then breathe out. When you come down, there's neither breathing in nor breathing out. So you don't have to breathe in, you don't have to breathe out. But when you come up, you breathe in, soft and flowing. Pause the movement and breath, bring the body upright, and then breathe out with a ha through the mouth. Let your energy gently flow. Qigong means the skill in using energy, yes? Qigong means a skill in using energy, and in all these practices, we're working with the energy, working with the body, working with the breath. But the idea is to get energy flow more smoothly. When energy flows more smoothly, that helps support your immune system. So let your energy gently flow into a gentle swaying movement. It doesn't have to be vigorous, gentle swaying. We call this gentle breeze, swaying willow. Yeah. Let's come into the movement again a few times in like a flowing movement. To come down, breathe in, pause, breathe out, release. Soft shoulders, soft arms. Pause. Down. Breathe in. Come up. Pause. Breathe out. Release. And pause again. Before you go straight into the next movement, you pause to allow energy to flow and for the body to cleanse, that cleansing part of clearing any stagnation that you've accumulated through the day. And this is preparing the nervous system, preparing that mind-body connection for sleep as well. So you take your time and do this with ease, not doing it with stress or unnecessary tension or strain. Let's come down again. Breathe in as you draw the arms up, slowly in like a wave form. Pause. You can allow your body to move and flow at the top as well. You don't have to hold it stiff. And then breathe out as you release. So I think everybody's got the form now. And as I say, don't worry about if you get this wrong, because you're going to be doing it with your eyes closed at the moment anyway, so you won't even be following me. If you really did want to just check for yourself, and you could peek an eye open and just have a little sneak peek at what's happening in the Qigong exercise. But please don't try and get it perfect. Really enjoy yourself here and release. Think about this as all that stuff that you've accumulated through the day that's making your systems work harder. You're now letting that go and release. Okay, let's come into a Qigong state of mind. Eyes gently closed, mouth gently open in Wuji. Eyes gently closed, mouth gently open, standing in Wuji. You can do this sitting down if you like, but if you can, stand. Soften your knees and soften your body. And just notice what it feels like to stand on the ground with soft feet. As I say, because we want to encourage energy flow here rather than rooting, we're going to have the feet slightly narrower than that wider rooted one. As soon as we stand wider, the chi will naturally flow down through your feet and root you. We will come back to rooted, but we want to release and let go. So the doorways need to be open. Here, gently bring your awareness to your feet and soften your feet. Soften your ankles, soften your lower legs and your knees and your thighs and your hips, and allow your body to gently move and sway. You're in full control of your energy flow and your movement here and your breath in your body. At any time you want to stop what you're doing, you can open your eyes, or you can go into a wider stance. You're in full control. But as part of the exercise of preparing for sleep, we want to let go of some of that accumulated stuff of the day. Bring your awareness to your hips and allow your hips to gently move and sway. No form to this, just gentle, spontaneous movement here by allowing softness, inviting in softness. release, energy flow. Bring your awareness now to your lower back. Bring that felt sense of ease and release. And it doesn't matter if you don't feel it, where the mind goes will help the energy follow. So just having the mind at the lower back will encourage that energy to flow there and release. Nourishing the systems at the same time, clearing out the accumulated negative or stagnant energy. Bring your awareness to your back and your chest, your arms and your hands, shoulders, the neck and the head and the face. If you've had any stress through the day, chances are your face has accumulated a number or amount of tension. So soften your face, the skin in your face. Allow your cheeks to soften, your jaw to soften. And then bring your mind to your breath. Mind to breath, breath to body. Gently breathing in through the nose, gently breathing out through the mouth. Simple. Keep it very simple. If the breath happens to come to the abdominal area, that's fine. But just release on your out breath. That's what you're doing anyway. As you breathe out, you literally are releasing. You're releasing breath. You're releasing negative energy. You're helping aid the immune system, the nervous system. Breathing out with the breath in draws in that cosmic energy, draws in the good energy. Breathing out, release. One more time, breathing in, breathing out. All the time, body can just gently move and sway however it moves. And then smile from your heart. Simply smile from your heart. This also helps us release. It helps restore and rebalance the systems. Very simple, but very powerful. Now from here, we're going to come down to that bending position for carrying the moon. Breathing in as you draw the hands up. Pause at the top. Breathe out as the body comes upright and the arms come softly down at the side. Pause there. In terms of the carrying the moon, allow your energy to gently move and sway. Clearing through the body and then coming down again. Tucking the chin towards the chest. Energy comes to the byway. Breathe in as you come up. Carrying the moon at the top. Breathe out as you release. Remember, you're just releasing everything from the day, preparing yourself for sleep. This is more of a cleansing exercise than a building exercise. Coming down, breathing out. Breathe in as you come up. Breathe out as you release. We're going to do this 2 more times, but in your own practice, you can do this 10 or 15 times or 5 times, however many you like. As long as it's not a 50 or 100 times, you don't need to overdo your training. Breathing out, release. Good. Coming back down again. Breathing in. Release. Let the energy gently flow down through the body, clearing away any of the rust and the dust or the rubbish. One more time. Coming up. Bringing the arms down the side as you breathe out. And then keep your eyes closed and the mouth gently open. This is your chance, your time to release and let go so that the body can naturally cleanse and restore. So allow the energy to flow wherever your energy flows to. You don't have to try and move it anywhere right now. You don't have to try and steer your energy or steer your experience. Whatever is happening for you right now is just perfect. As long as you're relaxing in your body, relaxing your breath, Gently become aware of the whole of the body as the energy gently moves through your body. Energy is moving all of the time anyway. Our job, if you like, is just to notice the energy flow, become aware of that energy flow without trying to hold on to anything. It's an invitation. It's an invitation for us to release and restore. Prepare ourselves for sleep by letting go, by relaxing and releasing. You can spend, if you like, in your own time, 5 or so minutes in this state, just standing, allowing that energy to gently move gently through your body. It's very gentle, it's very kind, not trying to do anything. Anything that shows up in your body right now, just let it be. Don't try and do anything with it. Any thoughts that show up, you don't have to do anything with them either. Just let them float on by like clouds in the sky. Then bring your awareness gently back to your breath, mind to breath, breath to body. And then gently place your awareness at that dantian, the chi hai, or energy physical center. Just place your awareness there. And then if you like, you can bring your breath gently down to the chi hai as you rest in this wuji position. And at the moment, the mind is just resting in a localized area, the chi hai. Mind to breath, breath to body. Mind, body energy coming to the chi hai. As you breathe out with a gentle ha. As you breathe in, the energy can gently come down to the chi hai. Just resting there. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. Just being. And this is the ideal state for sleep, having prepared ourselves into that gentle being state. Gently think of your dantian again and rub your palms together. Place the palms over your eyes, dab the eyes, and gently circle around the face, massaging your face. Massage around the head and the neck. And this is very gentle. It washes the face of the chi, washes away any of that tension from the day. And then you're ready then to go into a nice, restful sleep. Let's bring the other guys back in now.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So I feel as if it would be rather lovely just to finish here in this chilled out space, and for us to pick up any comments or questions later. It feels like the mind doesn't want to be getting involved with any of that right now. You've taken us to such a lovely space. In fact, the whole development of this whole session has been pretty magical, actually.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank each and every one.
Well, thank everybody. Yeah.
Thank everyone for watching as well.
Yeah, thank you for joining. If it's been an interesting experience or has piqued some curiosity for you, it's always good and wonderful thing to stay curious about things as well. Not get too serious about any of the stuff that we've done. That's not the reason or the point, but it's to stay in flow and stillness, to have this relationship, to find that state of balance, to help support each other, help support our immune systems. So if it has been of interest, you can join us again on February the 18th. And we go into this stuff again and go into some other things as well and respond to your questions in the meantime. But take good care of yourself. Be really gentle, be really kind. Your body deserves it. Your immune system deserves it. You deserve it as well. Really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.